Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Crespo, and I want to welcome you to my nursing conference discussion on the qualities of effective nurse leaders. I am a registered nurse, and I have worked in the nursing field for about 25 years in various roles, and I have also held multiple leadership roles with multiple different organizations. So I want to start by asking a very simple question. What is leadership? Leadership is simply the ability to organize a collective effort. Sounds simple enough, right? But when I extend the question and I ask, what makes an effective leader? The discussion topic becomes anything but simple. Actually, it's quite broad and can encompass many subtopics. Effective. Effective for who? Effective for the employer or effective for the organization? Is it effective for productivity, for positive patient outcomes, effective for the community, or for the team that's providing the care? And the answer is all of the above. And that is a huge task, especially considering if I were to ask any one of you or each one of you, what to you consists of effective leadership qualities? I can get a plethora of answers. Some of you might say good listening skills, action taking, someone who's well educated, someone who has a lot of experience, someone who's willing to get on the front line with us and get to work. And some of you may recite the commonly known 6 C's, the care, compassion, courage, communication, commitment, and competence. And any one of those and all of those are actually great answers for leadership qualities. There are no wrong answers. And the reason that there are no wrong answers is because there is no one way to be an effective leader. There are many different traits, styles for different situations and for different teams. There are some traits, however, that are a little more sought after than others because they have been proven to be more effective traits. And we'll get into that shortly. To give a little background on nursing leadership, I wanted to talk briefly about Florence Nightingale, who I'm sure we're all aware of. Miss Nightingale is the founder of modern nursing. She was the first real nurse leader dating back to the Crimean War, after which she founded our first nursing school in London. And we rightfully so celebrate her regularly. We have Nurses Week, we have our pledge, we have our lantern and candle that we hold at graduation, and all of that needs to continue. But there have been a few changes in nursing and in the way nursing leadership is expected to work since then. Some things in the last 50 years that have impacted nursing care, nursing leadership, have been the AIDS epidemic, H1N1, Ebola, the COVID pandemic, and then most recently, a rise in violence towards healthcare workers. I wanted to mention that according to the International Council of Nurses, in 2020, there was a study that they did at the start of COVID. We were at a 13 million nurse shortage globally. The new updated number as of now is about $30 million. So what is causing this disparity in nurses from just 5 years, from 13 million to 30 million? For one thing, there's a smaller workforce. And that could be related to, one in part, the actual COVID pandemic itself. We did lose about 115,000 healthcare workers to the pandemic. There's new RN fear coming across things such as COVID or other diseases, but also the violence towards healthcare workers. There's experienced nurse burnout, PTSD for people who did work through the AIDS epidemic or the COVID pandemic, or traumatic events that have happened at work. Some of them may have been violent. And then there's also risk versus reward. It's basically the same thing as when you're dealing with a patient and the doctor has to determine, is the risk of treatment better or worth the benefit that the patient's going to have. It's the same thing for us in healthcare, the risk versus reward. What is the value of our work? And then there's pay as well. The pay disparity is outrageous. Some companies have tried to make up for it as of late, but the more we get paid, the more things cost. So we end up in the same boat. And then there's also expectations, the rising expectations of patient satisfaction, um, while increasing workload from our healthcare organizations and our employers. And you might be asking, how is this related to leadership? And I'm going to bring that all together for you right now. When we look at our employers, our companies that we work for, whether they're for-profit or non-profit, they're the ones who are making it relevant. And I just want to share briefly with you, here locally in Central Florida, one of our healthcare organizations, this is just one of the many healthcare organizations that we have, is working on a revenue budget of $25 billion and is projected to be at $30 billion just at the end of this decade. One local CEO for a healthcare organization is making well over $10 million annually. Healthcare is a big, big business. And I know a lot of people don't like to talk about it that way or don't like to admit that the numbers impact our organizations or the work that we do, but they absolutely do. Healthcare is one of the biggest drivers of our economy, and we are all part of it. And we can't pretend, I should say, that it is a one-sided argument or a one-sided deal. We all benefit from this. We work in healthcare, and healthcare allows us to provide for our families and fulfills our desires to help the community and help people. In light of these big numbers and big dollar signs, and in conjunction with the fact that nurses make up about 40% of our healthcare workforce, our employers and healthcare organizations have set their sights on nursing leadership. And they believe that nursing leadership is the key to overcoming hurdles, gaining successes, and they rely on nursing leadership for dual roles of ensuring patient safety and satisfaction, as well as nurse retention. Healthcare organizations have turned to research on business models and business leadership, and the research shows that nurse leaders are critical in facilitating and improving nurse performance, which is essential in providing quality care and ensuring patient safety. There's a journal called the Inquiry, the Journal of Healthcare Organization Provision and Financing, which has done a lot of research on nursing leaders in particular, and it's found that nursing leadership directly impacts outcomes on patients as well as satisfaction with employees, both positively and negatively. And they've gone on to identify some qualities that are sought after from employees, the actual nurses working on the front line. So what are those characteristics? The research in this article has shown that the leaders that foster the following environments are the most successful. The first being autonomy. How can a nursing leader impact autonomy? One simple way would be to encourage a unit practice council and encourage all nurses to become part of that council. That way they can be making the decisions on their own unit and impacting the care that they provide directly by being part of that group. This will improve self-efficacy and empower individuals, leading to significant improvement in their performance and in their outcomes as well. The next topic that was most important was a caring and supportive environment. This one is very plain and speaks for itself, and goes for most people in most environments, being cared for and being supported. So that's being met with kindness and not hostility. Leadership styles that were most sought after. First leadership style is servant leadership approach, which would exemplify a humanistic approach, being empathic or empathetic, showing mutual benefit for the leader and the nurse as well, and then also being service-oriented. The second leadership style most sought after is transformational and transactional, which would be showing motivation, support, contingent rewards, intellectual stimulation. And the third most sought after is paternalistic, and that would be where we treat our team members like family, or having a laissez-faire approach, or really encouraging independent work. And the fourth most sought after leadership style is entrepreneurial, which is a leader who drives innovation and encourages risk taking and shows a passion for work. Much like our healthcare organizations, I also did some research on business leadership and found that some of the key ingredients to being a good business leader are the same as in nursing. It says here the best leaders are motivating, captivating, able to create a following. They are people who take action, are adaptable, and are continuous learners and have good influence on their team members. One of the models they use here is the five-factor model. And in the five-factor model, they talk about openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism, which I know neuroticism sounds counterintuitive. However, neuroticism is basically just emotional stability. It's a spectrum, so you would want to be on the good end of neuroticism. Also, the Myers-Briggs type indicator is used very widely. And this looks at extroversion versus introversion, sensing versus intuition, thinking versus feeling, judging versus perceiving. As well as the Myers-Briggs, there's also the 12 characteristics of a good leader that are commonly used within healthcare organizations as well. Actually, in mine in particular that I've worked with, I've seen this in two of the companies I work with. They talk about self-awareness, respect, compassion, vision, communication, learning agility, collaboration, influence, integrity, courage, gratitude, and resilience. In this research that I've done on business leaders, there was a section that was talking about the 6 most powerful business leaders in the world and the characteristics that they have. So these 6 people that they looked at were Tim Cook, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and Richard Branson. And they've boiled everything down, and they've taken the top attributes of these leaders and gave us a wonderful list to go off of. And in that list, we have emotional intelligence taking the #1 spot. And emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, manage, and use emotions effectively. After this is decisiveness, being able to make a decision quickly and stick to it. Own it if you're wrong, and then make a new decision. Next is inspiring confidence. And when you inspire confidence, this is to instill a feeling of trust or belief and certainty in someone that makes them feel secure in their abilities or the situation at hand. Next is emphasizing individuality. And for this, it would be to prioritize and highlight the unique characteristics, traits, and perspectives of individual persons or things, rather than focusing on collective or group identities. Next is showing integrity, the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, meaning doing what's right even when it's difficult or no one is watching. And there's also a focus on autocratic and democratic being 50-50, showing that you're willing to take everyone's input and go with the majority, but then when the time comes and is needed to make a different decision, that you're willing to do that as well. And lastly is focus on support, finding ways to help support your team so that they can thrive. So how can this information be applied to nursing leadership? I think it's important to remember that we are these respondents, these people that have taken these surveys and been part of this research that's been conducted. They're us, they're our coworkers, they're our friends, they're our neighbors, and this information is reflective of what we as a people want. So I think it's important that we take a moment to self-reflect and also situational reflect. Look at your surroundings, look at your work environment, and ask yourselves, what is good? What can be better? How can I make it better? How can I make it better for my team? How can I make it better for myself? And most importantly, how can I make it better for my patients? What is needed? Do we need more patience? Do we need a softer approach? Do we need to be more decisive, more inclusive? Do we need to practice more equity? Do we need to work on building trust with our team? In conclusion, I would like to say that most healthcare organizations offer leadership courses or seminars, and so many of them are based on Jim Collins' 5 Levels of Leadership, which is great, John Maxwell's 21 Indispensable Qualities, or Franklin Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. All of these are fantastic, and much can be learned from each one individually, or if you were to practice or study all of them. But what's at the heart of all of these methods and all of this research is that an effective leader should have emotional intelligence, strong self-awareness, and the utmost empathy for his coworker, his patient, and for himself as well. Thank you for your time.